Welcome to Meet the Author, where you can join in on insightful conversations with best-selling and award-winning indie published authors. Your hosts today are Rob and Joan, who themselves are indie published authors, book publicists, and paranormal investigators with Tampa Bay Spirits, based in Tampa Bay, Florida. Thanks for dropping by. And now, on with the show.
Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Joan. Welcome to the show. We're happy to see you here. Don't forget to like, share, follow, and comment. We love to hear your comments, and so do our authors. And we're so happy to be having the British invade us again tonight. We're looking forward to seeing both of our authors. So without further ado.
Yes, and before we do that, though, let's talk about the shows that we have coming up. June is right around the corner. Next week is June, and our first episode is episode 13 on June 2nd, a week from tonight. We're going to have travel humorist Trish Ostrowski on, and also the authors Lillian and Dave Brummett. They'll be on with us as well. We'll skip the 9th, and on the 14th, we'll have Kirsten Hall and Tori Gates on board. Episode 15 on the 23rd will be Alan Zacher and Suzanne Least. And then we'll have another UK Authors Night on the 30th, which will be episode 16. And Judy Haste will be on with, and along with Carol Yeomanson. So you don't want to miss those. Keep watching the Facebook page, and you'll be able to see what's coming up. Now, without further ado, as we say, I want to introduce our science fiction author tonight is Jan Domagala. And we're going to bring Jan in now, I think. I'm going to try to retrieve him.
I just wanted to say hi, Paul. Hi, June. Hi, Robert.
Hi, Jan.
Hi there. Are you all right?
Good. How are you doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on.
Oops.
Thing up. Wait just a minute.
We got a technical glitch there. There we go. That's better.
Oh, there we go.
You are not Thomas
You're
Air.
not Thomas.
He's coming on second.
No.
Oh, hi. How are you? We're glad
Fine,
to have you on the show. We're good.
Thank you.
Let me see. We've got one more comment here. Robert, we're always happy to see Robert. He's from all the way from Australia. Sorry, Robert, I had a brain freeze. Paul Hollis says, hi, Jan. Do you know Paul?
Not personally, no, but I've seen him on Facebook. And I've seen your adverts for him.
Author of the Hollow Man series.
That's it. Yeah, I was trying to wrap my brain then, see what he wrote.
Yeah.
So science fiction. You like science fiction so much that you write really good science fiction books, I hear.
Thank you. It's weird because I don't really read much science fiction. I like to write it. So when I first started writing, tried my hand at science fiction. The first thing I wrote came out like a homage to Star Trek. So I thought, it's not going to work. So I scrapped that and I tried again and it came out like Star Wars. So I scrapped that and I tried again and it came out like Babylon 5 or a mix of all three. I thought, this is not working. This is not working. So I tried my hand at thriller writing and nothing seemed to work there either. So what I ended up doing, I saw an article in a journal somewhere that said, if you can't find a book that you want to read, why don't you write it yourself? So I thought, well, I want to read a science fiction story. It's like an action film. So I sat down and I had to go at doing that. And that became the first book in the Colsack series.
Wow, okay, that's pretty cool. Too bad you didn't come up with those books like about 30 years ago, before Star Wars came out, before Babylon 5.
I would have set the trend.
There you go. You would have been setting real good, right?
Oh, no, yeah, never mind.
Adam says sci-fi, right up my alley.
Yep.
And also I know Robert loves sci-fi.
And Adam's another sci-fi author. He was on our show before.
And Jan says hello.
Jan Roms.
Also another author. Yeah, Jan. And do you know George Dismukes?
Oh, I've seen his name on Facebook and on your adverts, I think.
Yep, Two Faces of the Jaguar.
I'm connected with.
And he also will have a series coming out, Siren Song, a TV series.
Right.
I know.
Oh, brilliant.
Exciting stuff, right?
Yeah. We all wish we could do that.
They're casting and everything on that.
We all wish we could do that. George is doing it.
Yeah, he's actually
he's living the dream.
That would be my dream, to get Netflix involved in, or Amazon Prime involved in the Colsec series, because I think it would lend well to a series like that.
Yeah, wouldn't that be great? Yeah, we would all love that for sure.
Okay, so you were recently picked up, weren't you, by a publisher over here in the States?
Yep.
That's correct, yeah.
What about that?
Yeah, I saw the advert for them on Facebook, to be honest, and I did a little bit of research to see what the background of the company was before I submitted. And well, I'll give it a go. So I filled out a submission form, which was done online, sent it off. I never thought anything about it. I left it for 12 weeks, didn't hear anything. So I thought I'd drop them another email to see if they've got me post. And they got back to me and they said, "Yeah, sorry about the delay. We've been really, really busy, but we'll have a decision for you in the next couple of weeks." And I think 2 days later, got a congratulations email. They said, "We'd like to offer you a 10-book deal, a traditional book deal on all the series, which is 10 books." I was blown away. I thought,
I bet.
Brilliant.
You're like,
the first. I know, yeah. The first Zoom meeting I had with the editor, she said, had me at the first sentence, and I thought, well, because I only sent the first 4 chapters. She said, "You had me in the first paragraph, I suppose."
Wow.
After that, I was interested in seeing what the rest of the series was like. So, yeah, brilliant. We've got the first 2 books republished out now. The third one, Discovery, is coming out. I think we're aiming for June, sometime in June. It'll be late June now, probably. Working on the cover art at the minute, and it's been re-edited. So we're working on that.
Caleb Pirtle says, "Welcome, Jan. Good to see a man who lives in a world far different from the rest of us." Meaning you're from Britain. And Robert White said, "Yep, at least he had the more well-known series he was pairing. There was no Blake 7, Battlestar Galactica, Space 1999, or the multitude of others out there."
That's true.
I actually think that those all drew inspiration from ones I mentioned. Well, certainly Star Trek. I think after Star Trek, a lot. I mean, Doctor Who's been running for 50 odd years, so that's obviously the forerunner.
Yeah,
but I think a lot of TV sci-fi. Battlestar Galactica was complete. I hope no one's going to be offended by this, but it was a complete rip-off of Star Wars. It was a TV version of Star Wars, the 1970 series, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, the later one is a lot offended.
No, I don't want to offend anybody.
I don't think.
I understand what he means. Yeah.
So, what got you started in writing? Why did you decide to write?
Well, when I was a school kid, I was a mad fan of Marvel comics and DC comics. I had a dabble of creating my own. Then I realised you could tell a story a lot quicker by just writing it out. So I dabbled with short stories and 1 or 2 things, but never did anything seriously. Then when my dad died, I used it as a sort of therapy session, just to get thoughts down on paper. And then from that, I thought, well, I might as well write a book. The first full blown effort was a sword and sorcery fantasy in the bit like a Conan book. I used to love reading Conan stories and anything by Robert E. Howard. Then I went on from that to try to start science fiction. I've been dabbling from the 80s, mid 80s. Hopefully now I think I'm just about getting it right.
Takes a while to adjust, doesn't it?
It certainly does, yeah.
Here's one of Jan's books.
Can you give us a little synopsis on Ronan?
Ronan?
Yeah, it's about a guy who volunteers for a secret program in the military in the 25th century. He thinks it's going to be revolutionary, and there's lots of things that can come from it, but he finds out it's quite what he thought. Changed genetically, he becomes enhanced, and throughout the course of the story, he has to make a decision whether to allow forces that be to control his life and use his abilities in probably negative ways, or keep what he can do as a secret. So he decides, well, I'll leave it to you. I'll let the reader decide what happens. I don't want to give too much away.
No,
okay,
don't
no.
give too
Just
much
a
away.
little synopsis. That's
we
all
do
we
need people
Yeah.
to buy the book.
Yeah.
Here's
Exactly,
another your next book in the series, correct?
Yeah, Omega. Now this one deals with a side character from Ronin called Matt Hawke, and he discovers a secret terrorist organization that threatens. Well, how can I say? Well, threatens Earth basically. There's a lot of cloning and genetic engineering again in that, and there's lots of spaceship battles and lots of action. Yeah, it's like on steroids basically. I had a lot of fun writing that one.
That's good.
Okay. Hey, as long as we just talked about those two books,
Yeah.
let's talk about your book giveaway. We'll get our first book giveaway of the show started here anyway. Here's what it's all about right here. The first 3 people to email will win their choice of a Ronin or Omega paperback copy. And here's the email. And it's jan.domagala@gmail.com.
And Domagala is spelled DOMAGALA for those of you who are listening but are not viewing.
So that's what's going on there.
And it's rare that we can get paperbacks here in the United States from our friends over in Britain because, it's
shipping
expensive.
costs.
Shipping costs, yeah.
But your publisher happens to be here, so we're lucky. Sue Pearson says, love sci-fi. I love the sound of both. Both the books.
Both books. They do sound.
Yeah.
We need to get a copy ourselves.
I know,
Yeah.
right? Here's another place. Well, now, if you want to win the book, okay, the first 3 people to email him, and you need to email him at jan.domagala@gmail.com. All right.
Probably wouldn't hurt to put in the subject podcast or something like that.
Yeah. And if you want to get in touch with him, he has a website, jandomagalavriter.wordpress.com. You can
Somebody's already.
Yeah. Cool.
Good.
Somebody's already emailed me.
Awesome.
Good.
One winner.
And come on, guys, there's 2 on the table. And then you can get in touch with him at Twitter at Mayhem Stories or on his Facebook page, facebook.com/jan.domagala2016. And also, of course, you can find him on Indie Book Source.
Yeah. Both of our authors tonight are on. Why don't you put the email back up there so that people can see that?
Okay, wait just a minute. But Adam wanted to say both of his books sounded great.
Yeah. They really do.
Adam's books are also great. The email? You want me to put the email back
pop
up?
it back up there. So
Bear with me, people, while I find the email address again.
all the way at the bottom.
I
There
found
we
it.
go. Ding, 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 ding. There we go. We did it. So
Technology.
yeah, there you go. Gotta love it.
Yeah.
Also, you have to love my glasses.
We already talked about Discovery is going to be coming out, and you've got a few others that you've already written that are going to be republished, right?
Yeah.
How about any new ones beyond those that are already in the shop?
I'm working with Red Penguin again, and they've offered me another 3-book deal on a new project. I'm 3/4 of the way through the first book. I've got a working title, but I don't want to give anything away because that might change. And it's going to be a science fiction story. Not quite set as far in the future as the Colsec series, but it's going to be. This is going to be slightly different for me because it's more of a character study. Lead character is he isn't enhanced in any way, but he's got the ability to shut off his emotions. I class him as a functioning sociopath, but not actually a sociopath. But he can function how he needs to in his job. He can switch off certain aspects of his emotional content so that he can focus directly on what he's got to do. So again, I'm going to put as much action into it as I can, and I'm 3/4 of the way through. I'm coming to the end now, and then I should be passing that over to the editor, and then we'll see what happens.
Awesome.
They've offered me the 3-book deal on that, and another project I suggested, just on again a couple of chapters. Let's hope this one's just as successful. Yes,
I'm sure they will be.
Now, Robert White said people here are rather quick as far as entering the giveaways. And that's very true.
Well, Robert should be fast because he's in the future. I mean, it's tomorrow already.
It's tomorrow for Robert.
Yeah, it is. Way past my bedtime.
He's time traveling.
You should see the birds he has in his backyard. Oh my gosh. Love his birds.
Amazing.
All the beautiful natural things they have in Australia. Caleb said, I would enter the giveaway, but I've been buying and reading Jen's books for a long time. I would recommend everyone else do the same.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. Thanks, Caleb. And also I would say that if you read a book and you like the book, please give a good review of the book. Absolutely. It helps all authors every time you do that. And I think that Sue Pearson said, good job, Joan, making fun of my mistake. Jillian Thrillian says, hi, guys. Hi, Jillian. We love you.
Thanks for dropping in.
And Robert says, hi, Jillian. And Sue Pearson said, so nice, Caleb, a nice thing to say. And Adam said that you're that Robert's receiving emails from yesterday.
That could be.
This gets too confusing.
I'm very confused. Maybe you guys could straighten it out in a story for us. There, we got a whole basis for a new story. You got a new plot.
We miss you. We love you too, Jillian. Sweet girl.
I would love to write a time travel story, but I think it's a bit confusing. I don't think I could wrap my head around it properly.
It's so confusing.
It is.
Isn't it so confusing?
It is insane.
Yeah. I don't think I could write one either, to be honest. I have trouble following them. It drives me crazy. And so does...
So many things.
Go ahead.
I'm saying there's so many things that you have to keep in order to get the story right. And I'm not a plotter. I'm more of a pantser writer. I just sit down and with an idea in the back of my head and the characters I want to be in the story, and I'll start writing and see where it goes. I'll have an idea where I want it to end up. Getting there can change from day to day. So I could not actually sit down and write a plot at once. I wrote a complete story out, chapter by chapter, laid out what I wanted to happen in each chapter. by the time I got to the ending, I thought, done it. I've written a book. I couldn't go back, and because when I started to write the first chapter from the layout that I'd set out, conversations happened that I hadn't foreseen, and things changed. And then I thought, well, that's not going to work in chapter 2 now because I've gone in a different direction. So I thought, no, I can't do that.
Right. Yeah.
Robert said to clear things up, his texts go so fast they go into the past. Thank you for clearing that up, Robert, because I was.
Robert, sometimes I think ours do go into the past and then they show up like a week later. I don't know where they go, but sometimes they just disappear,
Trish said, unless it's Back to the Future. That's true. That
they
was
did
easy.
a good
that
job
was
on
easy
that.
to follow.
Yeah.
That was fairly easy to follow. Yeah, it's about the easiest one.
It is the easiest one. And Beth Carter.
I also liked Looper.
Hi, Beth.
Well, Looper was a good film. That was a good sci-fi time travel plot.
For sure.
Have you seen that film with Bruce Willis?
Which one is it? Did you say now?
Looper.
No, I haven't.
L-O-O-P-E-R.
No.
Looper.
I
recommend you watch that. It's a good film.
Oh,
I've heard the name.
Sue said the lake house was hard to follow.
Yes.
I don't know if you've seen that, but it's where they leave letters for each other in a mailbox.
That
they
was
both
very
live in
confusing.
one lives in the past and one lives in the
seen
future.
it, but I know what you mean. Yeah, I've seen. I know of it, but I haven't seen it.
Oh,
what?
So
Trish and Sue both saw it.
Sue saw Looper, she liked it, and Trish saw Looper and she loved it.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm out of the loop.
It's a brilliant film.
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
We're totally out of the loop. Maybe it'll come back around.
To get in.
Oh, Robert,
get in, it's a good film.
we are the only two people in the world that haven't seen this.
Must be.
Bruce Willis. Oh my goodness! Look at this.
You're gonna have to watch it now, aren't you? Just to find out what we've been talking about.
I'm kind of embarrassed.
You can just talk to everybody. We're going to go watch.
How did we miss it?
Oh my goodness, I don't know.
And we're huge sci-fi fans too. We love sci-fi. My life is sci-fi. No, it isn't. Yeah, it is kind of.
We have to break in a few minutes. What would you? I'm going to put you on the spot here. What recommendation would you have for somebody who is just sitting down and has the urge to write something? Would you have any recommendations for them?
Pick a subject that you are passionate about. As much research in the subject as you can. If you don't know a lot about it, go into research, because you can always do that on the run once you start working on the writing aspect of it. You can always research material as and when you need it. Always do your best work. Edit. Go back and change things. Don't just rattle off something and then hope it'll get published, because that never happens. Even if you're self-publishing, it's not the best idea. Always need to. You have to be. Yeah, you do. You have to be brutally honest. Don't be afraid to kill off certain characters, even if you get to love them. And
we have some questions and comments for you here. Trish Pipkin says, Jan, who is your favorite doctor? I have to ask.
I've got a fondness. My most favorite doctor I was growing up was John Pertwee.
Oh, really?
But yeah, John Pertwee. Then after that, when it came back after the long layoff, I didn't like the ones after John Pertwee, because I enjoyed his adventures that much. No one else seemed to scratch that itch. When it came back, I liked Christopher Eccleston. Then I liked David Tennant a lot more. Matt Smith. I didn't think I was going to like Matt Smith. Then I fell in love with Matt Smith as well.
Me too.
I wasn't too keen on the one who came after. And I don't like the new one.
Robert said, Trish, my answer to that question is Tom Baker. Mine also. I love Tom Baker.
Mine too.
He's my all-time favorite, but I did love.
I think Tom Baker is
Nicholson and
generally
Tennant
known as
and Smith. Oh yeah.
A lot of them were good.
Tom
Yeah.
Baker's-
Yeah. Everyone knows him because of his scarf, you know.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And what?
He came straight after John Pertwee, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And what was it that he was always eating? I know it's a Tom Baker, and
Yeah.
Barbara says Tom
was it
Baker.
Jelly-
Oh,
Were they Jelly Babies? No, because I
Jelly
didn't watch
Babies.
a lot of his episodes.
yeah,
Just happen to have some jelly babies.
Ah!
Right?
those
Yeah,
are
I
jelly
think it was
beans.
Jelly Babies.
Those are jelly beans. Those are jelly bellies.
They're jelly bellies. I'm sorry. They're close
Yeah.
enough. Though.
Okay, so Trish says, mine is Tom Baker. Matt Smith, I tried really hard not to like him, but he won me over. Tennant is great too. I agree completely. I
Yeah, I had the same
didn't want to
feeling
like
about
Matt
Matt
Smith
Smith.
either.
I had a feeling about Matt Smith. I didn't really think I was going to take to him, but I sort of I warmed to him in the end. Really liked it. One of my favourite episodes is the 50th anniversary with David Tennant and Matt Smith. That was shown in the cinema over here as well. I really enjoyed that one. It was brilliant.
Care for a jelly baby. That is what Tom Baker is. Care for a jelly baby. That and his sonic screwdriver. Love it.
Yep.
Yes, so Doctor Who preceded everybody. You were right about that.
God,
There you
And look at how we all love him.
go.
Yeah. Did anybody see the Cushing cinematic versions of Doctor Who and the Daleks and Doctor Who 2150? I think.
Yep.
I've got those on Blu-ray. Brilliant.
Yeah, I've seen them. I like them, but I like the TV series better, to be honest.
Yeah.
But,
well, it harks back to the William Hartnell version that was, but very early 60s.
I like the original Daleks when they look like little vacuum cleaners with tennis shoes sticking out of them.
Yeah, they were great.
I always wondered why people were scared of them because they could never come upstairs or anything like that. I mean, what a flight of stairs in them, and they're knackered, they can't do anything.
Knock them over.
Exterminate.
Now they can fly and do all sorts.
Okay, Caleb has an actual
We have a question here.
An actual author.
Caleb says, asked, what was the first sentence you wrote that captivated your new publisher?
Good question, Caleb. Maybe we can all write the same sentence. Kidding.
It was.
Kidding.
If you don't publish my book,
I haven't got the book. I can't reach the book at the minute, but it goes along the lines of: he stood out on the observation deck, observing a vista of stars, preparing to die or waiting to die, something like that.
Nice.
Oh well.
Well, that gets it started.
You had to have a really good one, didn't you? That was good. Awesome.
And shortly after that, he did die. And then the story kicks in then. He's not the central character, obviously.
Yes. So Peter Cushing wasn't bad. That's what Robert says. And
I think anything Peter Cushing did was brilliant.
Yeah,
and then the Weeping Angels are terrifying.
Angels. Oh my gosh.
Oh God, yeah, they were really scary.
We still see them here. I mean, they're real.
You are paranormal investigators, so you will see them.
Well, he's a retired air traffic controller. So he'd get up and go to work at 3:00 in the morning, right? And we had this really high shelf that went across this, our ceiling was like, 15, 16 feet high. Mm-hmm. So there was this shelf way up high, like around 14 feet high that went across the window. And we had all these angels sitting on there, and he'd go to work at 3:00 in the morning and he'd say something like, "Don't let those weeping angels get you." And I was like, oh, great. Now I've got to be home alone with those angels at 3:00 in the morning. Great opening.
I had a weird experience once. We'd spent the night watching horror films on video. This is going back years. And then I had to go work early in the morning. I was on a early day shift, so it was still dark. And my route where I worked was through a graveyard. And I was walking through the graveyard, and the images from the horror films are still playing in the back of my mind. And a cat shot out from a hedge right in front of me. I've never got to work so quick in all my life. I was there.
I bet.
I bet.
Well, we're going to have to break here. Caleb says, great opening sentence, a real throat grabber.
It was a good opening sentence. And then Sue Pearson said, that is good. That opening sentence was very good.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay.
I guess we have to have a break. Oh, wait a minute. Robert says.
One more here. Robert says, Jan, I'm looking at your list of books now on Amazon. Going to get some through Kindle.
Wonderful, Robert. They're
really
good
penguin versions.
Hopefully, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, when we come back from break, we're going to have author Thomas J. Eyre on with us. And so we're going to say goodbye for a couple of minutes, but we're going to try not to make it too long. So hang in there.
See you in a bit.
At Indie Booksource, you can shop by genre or by author, and you will be buying direct from the author's main purchase link. We offer hundreds of titles in formats that include ebooks, paperback, hardbound, and audiobook. Support an indie author. Visit indiebooksource.com today.
In a world where advancing technology is outpacing crime solving, the O'Rourke team continues their relentless pursuit of justice. Bioprints is the first book in the O'Rourke crime novel series where it's high-tech crime versus old-fashioned detective work. Visit carternovels.com or amazon.com and check out Bioprints today.
Oh, yeah. Life just got sweeter now that WLFE-DB has merchandise. Show your support by purchasing your t-shirts for WLFE, Paratalk Radio, Inside the Drag Closet, and more. But it doesn't stop there. T-shirts, coffee mugs, tanks, buttons, cloth bags, and more. Go to WLFE-DB.com. On the top bar, click on the merchandise tab and bam, there you go. You got merch. Support the shows. WLFE-DB.com.
WLFE Digital Broadcast Network presents Variety Unlimited Television. Watch shows like Meet the Author Podcast, The Bipolar DM, Just Cindy, Card Pulls and Coffee, Unfiltered Talk with Bryce, and more. That's right, our shows are your shows on WLFE Digital Broadcast Network. And now, back to the show.
Welcome, Thomas.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
We had some fireworks for you there.
You did. I saw that. Yes. Thought it was the 4th of July.
Yes. No.
Right.
It was just, hey, here
It was
comes
just,
Thomas.
Here's Thomas. So how are you doing? You staying awake? It's after midnight there, right?
Well, I've got some American friends that I sort of stay online and chat with quite late. So this is sort of middle of the chat period for me. So, yeah. Hello, Sue.
You're pretty used to it, right?
Yeah. I normally bed down about, 4:30 in the morning here.
That's when we get up.
I'm normally up by about 10:30. Hi, Paul. Yeah, I'm normally up by about 10:30 my time, not your time.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I about 6 hours is I'm normally awake by then.
Oh, once you reach a certain age, I don't think you can sleep more than 6 hours straight. So,
Tell me about it.
No,
when you were young, you could go down for a long time. But
I could have slept for England when I was young.
Yeah.
If it had been an Olympic sport, I'd have been there.
There you go.
When we were young, that's
Gold
what
medal.
we could do.
So Thomas, you're a crime thriller author,
I am. For my
correct?
sins.
You
Yeah.
have you got a wonderful series, Codename Orcus.
Yeah, I've got Codename Orcas, Pyrotic. Codename Orcas series. Currently 3 books. There is another one in sort of planning. I'm a bit like Jan. I write by the seat of my pants too. So I can't say it's in planning, but I've got ideas that I jot down as I go along through the day as I'm writing a novel that I'm concentrating on at the moment, which is a different genre.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
let
that's
me
interesting.
put up your books first. Desert Overwatch, which I believe was first,
That's book
right?
one.
book
Yeah,
one.
book one.
And
Yeah.
then we go to the British front line.
Yep.
Is that right? And the Namibian offensive.
Yeah.
I have trouble saying the country's name.
Yeah.
Namibia.
No, those are all brand new covers.
They're really nice too. I really like them.
Yeah. Thank
This
you.
one's really cool.
Did you design them, or did you have those done?
No. Well, let's say I had a hand in the design.
There you go. There you go.
The guy that I use, Wilson, he's very, very talented, and he came up with some ideas for the British front line. Was the first one that we designed. Sorry, Desert Overwatch was the first one we designed, and that one stuck with it pretty much right the way through. But the first one that brought this type of cover to the fore was the British front line, with the American burnt hole in the center.
Yeah, I really like that. You know, you've got them on all the covers, see?
Yeah.
So people can see to follow.
I did actually change to the cover of British Frontline, and I had a guy more in sort of keeping with the genre, where you've got the spy type guy with a gun, it just didn't work for me. And an editor friend of mine said, well, what you really should do is go back with the original, because she liked that. So I looked at that again and thought, do you know what, that is quite a good cover. I do like that. And it also tied in with the Namibian offensive, and I got him to redesign the Desert Overwatch cover. And he actually put that cover together and with the Iraqi flag, and it was just, I was blown away when I saw that one.
Well, I noticed in August, on August 1st, actually, you're coming out with a box set, and it's going to look like this.
Yeah.
Which is like all 3. See how clever that is?
Very clever.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that was all Will. That I never had a hand in that. He just came up with that and said, what do you think of this? And I went, wow.
Yeah, I think it's a wow too. Look at that. That's so
beautiful.
clever. What a great way to advertise it.
So, Thomas, Desert Overwatch. Can you give us a little bit of a synopsis on that?
Of course. That's the first one in the series, obviously. And it follows a guy called James Regan and his spotter. They're detailed off to go out into the Iraqi desert in Desert Storm, the first Gulf War. And they're on Desert Overwatch over an Iraqi underpass. They're on sort of looking for Scud missiles and launchers and stuff, which is actually what happened, during the actual war, where British Special Forces were detailed off to go and try and hunt down these Scuds to try and stop them being fired into Israel. So, it just follows on from there. And one of the guys, it's a bit of a long, convoluted story, but it's quite a short book. But basically, what happens is the sniper and his spotter, they get separated because one of them has to go and pick up a downed coalition pilot, and Jim Regan gets teamed up with an old partner that he used to have, who they sort of, they were sweet on the same girl. So there's a backstory to it as well. So it brings in, like, not only the war in the desert, it brings into it the home front and the sort of trials and tribulations that these guys are under, because they're not just warriors, they do have a life at home. So I tried to portray that. And Roger Morgan, he tends to drink a lot, so he gets drunk on watch while James is having getting his head down for a while, and they get picked up by an Iraqi patrol. And there goes the dog.
Dog alert, dog alert.
So
We
anyway,
just had somebody come to the door, so
right.
that's
Well, I don't mind telling you about this one because it's one that I actually give away on my website. It's
Okay.
the first one in the series, you know, so it just sort of sets the scene for what comes in the later books. Though I do prefer the later books, but this one it was needed to sort of set the scene, as it were.
yeah. Sue says those are really eye-catching covers.
Thank you, Sue.
And James says
Thanks,
great
James.
covers. They
Yeah.
are.
So anyway, long story short, there's a murder in the trench. The Iraqis get killed, and a couple of Royal Marines die in the trench. And what happens on the battlefield stays on the battlefield, and things move on from there. Although they are a military bent, it's definitely a crime story. They are crime
Because of the murder.
because of murders, and that's not the only one.
Yes.
It's the only one. Well, there's quite a few in Desert Overwatch, but it's not the only murder in the series.
So let's talk about your book giveaway. Let's get started on that so people have time.
Okay, so if anybody wants to go to my website and sign up for my newsletter, they can download Desert Overwatch absolutely free. And I'm not tight like some, you know, sort of northern authors tend to be. I'm going to give away as many books as you like.
Oh my goodness!
Whoa.
Thanks, mate.
Whoa.
Here's some shade. Have some shade, Jan.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
Don't shade on our show.
Yeah, as many people as want that book can go and download it, because hopefully they'll go on then and read the second in the series.
Are you hearing this?
As many people as want. As
We could
many
be
people as
1,000.
want.
All sign up and get a free book copy.
Listen, if 1,000 of you go and sign up, I love it, because
If we have 1,000
hopefully
viewers, I'd love that.
That would be nice.
yes,
too, right?
me too, me too,
We will eventually, by all the downloads.
Well,
There
if
will
we-
be more than that.
Yeah, no kidding.
absolutely.
So
yeah.
the websites, for those of you who are listening to this and not viewing it, is thomasjeyre.com. And that's Thomas as you would expect, J as you would expect, and Eyre, E-Y-R-E, like Jane Eyre.
As in Jane Eyre, my little
As in
sister.
Jane Eyre, who is his little sister. And he's not
Yes.
kidding. That's the truth.
Yes, she is my. That's Jane with a Y. My name.
Yep. But that has nothing to do with his website or anything else.
Or
Just
anything
saying.
else. It's just
No.
added information.
Yep.
Wait a sec. Let me pull up these two. You want to read that, Thomas?
I can see some of it. Thomas is
Or
a brilliant
I'll-
writer. He can
We'll
find
read it
bread.
for you.
I've got my Christmas card box in front of the rest of it. I can't see.
Okay.
Caleb says
butterflies.
Thomas is a brilliant writer. He can find breathtaking action and adventure, even if a butterfly fights a slug.
Awesome.
Wow.
I like it. I'll take it.
Nice guy.
Thanks, Caleb. And
Thank you,
Trish
Caleb.
Trish said, wow, throwing shade, LOL. That was major shade.
Yeah.
For those that of us that live in the States, we don't understand what that meant.
No, because we don't
about
really.
living up north, because we're Northerners, but we're in the South.
That is
Yeah.
true.
I know the feeling. I'm a Midlander, but I live in the South too.
Do you want to take me through?
I know. I was just
We should
letting
be
you know.
sticking
Live
together.
I know.
Do you
I was
think
just
we'll
letting.
ever get British?
I was just letting you know
authors
that you
on
live further north than me.
Oh,
Hi, Ori.
Ori K.
Ori K. Hello.
all right. So let's see.
Yes.
Let's take you through all of your everywhere we can reach you here, so people can reach you. Facebook, facebook.com/thomas.eyre.3760. Okay, still spelled the same way.
UIRE.
EYRE. Twitter is @ThomasJR1. And email is thomas@thomasjeyre.com. Okay.
Always happy to receive emails from people, especially with constructive criticism. If you're just going to tell me my books are trash, do one. If you want to tell me why they're trash, then I'll listen to you.
What if somebody from the north wants to throw some shade your way?
Listen, Jan's quite happy. You know, we're Midlanders. We're okay.
Yeah,
are we, Jan?
We'll be all right.
Constructive criticism is really good. Constructive.
I like. Now, let me tell you. You're talking about killing off your characters. In Desert Overwatch, quite a lot of the characters do die. And one lady, and it actually made me stop and think. She wrote something like, "I found the whole premise of the book confused me no end. And why would you do that, kill off all your characters and the such?" Well, the reason why I did it was because I needed that particular interaction between the families to carry on into the next book. Because I'm not going to tell you any more about that, but there is an interaction at the family side of it, which you'll read about in the British Frontline if you read it.
Right.
You don't kill off characters just for the sake of. There's always a reason behind it.
No, there was a reason behind it. Yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Desert Overwatch was actually the second book that I wrote, though I needed to write it in order to make sense of what was going on in the British Frontline. So it was written from that perspective.
Okay.
Which was quite difficult because you had a start point and a finish point, and you had to fill in the middle, but it had to end up at the right place. You know, because already had an ending. So it was quite difficult because with like Jan, you start writing and the characters write the story themselves.
That's the truth.
You know, I don't know. I honestly don't know where the characters and the interaction come from. I just sit down and I start writing and think, wow, did I really write that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
I've done that many times.
You know,
done that many times.
And then you sit there and you think, holy moly, you know, I really wrote that.
How did I get to there? How did that happen?
Exactly. So anyway, this what this lady said. Sorry, what this lady had said to me she gave me a 1-star review for it on Amazon, and it made me sit and think about why. Yeah, it made me sit and think about why, and then I worked it out because she didn't know that the story carries on. So what I did, I included the first 3 chapters of the British Frontline in the back of Desert Overwatch, so people can read it and they can read on and they understand then where the story's going from.
Very good. Yeah.
But it wasn't without that 1-star criticism that I would have realised. So whoever that lady was, I just thank her from the bottom of my heart. Really, honestly, I needed that.
We've got a couple of questions now. Trish says, I have a question for both Jan and Thomas. Has the pandemic inspired you to write any stories, and has it given you any ideas?
I'll let Jan answer that first.
Thank you. I suppose the obvious answer is, I think what she means is, has he inspired us to write a pandemic story? The answer to that one is no. But I have taken inspiration from certain things that happened during the pandemic have made me think, and especially on a political front, and I've added that to some of the new stuff that I've been writing. It's made me really think about things more than just doing it for entertainment's sake. It's made me think about the inner workings of how our governments work and stuff like that, and put more backstory, more detail into some of the things I write, and more hidden agendas and motivations, and look at it from that point of view.
From my perspective, no, not at all. The actual pandemic itself came at exactly the wrong time for me. I was in the middle of a couple of breakups of relationships, and it screwed me up completely for over a year. I've only just I'd written probably about 20,000 words of the new novel that I'm writing in a different genre, which is more, it's a paranormal romance / erotica. It didn't start out as erotica. It didn't start out as erotica, but it's going that way.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I would have thought the pandemic. I would have thought the lockdown would have been brilliant for me personally on the introvert level, because being told to sit at home and nothing and just write, it was a godsend. But after a while, I got sort of cabin fever, and I had the reverse effect. At the beginning of it, the first lockdown, I was in my element. I thought, wow, this is just what I want, you know. Exactly. And then towards the end, as it got on and dragged on, and I started to suffer. Now that everything's sort of opening up again, for me, things are beginning to get back to normal.
For me, the first part of it, I was pretty badly screwed up because of the relationship breakups and one thing and another, and then the pandemic on top of that, you know, and the pandemic didn't help with the relationship breakup.
Right.
No.
So I was sort of stuck on my own. Plus I told my ex-wife that I was moving out, and then got locked down for 3 months. Oh my God, that was bad.
Oh, jeez. I bet that would have been nice. Oh God, you have my sympathy.
Yes, 3 months.
That's a nightmare.
We practiced. No, I'm not going to say it. Can I swear on this show?
Yes.
Is that allowed?
Yeah.
Is that okay? We got an adult audience. Okay. We practiced hallway sex.
Oh well, that isn't swearing.
Oh no, it is. We'd meet in the passageway accidentally and go, fuck you, no, fuck you. Always sex.
Although that's what you meant.
Now we have a serious question here, and we have a bunch of comments, you guys. I want to get them all in. Do you ever kill off a character when you had no idea he or she was going to die? And that's from Caleb. Yep.
Caleb, yes, I did. I did kill off. I did kill off James. Yes, I didn't realize he was going to die. And the same with his.
That's what we're talking about. That the characters write their own story.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep. Yep. It's crazy.
I honestly just start writing, and
yeah.
If you think about it, the people that frown upon us, they look down upon us and say, "Oh, well, you write from the seat of your pants. You're not a proper writer. We sit down and plan everything, like Agatha Christie, who sits and plans everything to the nth degree." What they're actually doing is pantsing, but they're not writing it down. So they're writing by the seat of their pants anyway.
No, wait a minute. Caleb's wife, Linda, as a matter of fact, Caleb writes like you write and like we write, okay? But Caleb's wife, Linda, is a retired English teacher and principal of a high school. And so she's really big on plotting and writing.
Storyboard and all that.
Yes. And
what do you think of Stephen King?
I think Stephen King is awesome.
King of the crop, right? King of the crop.
Yeah.
You ever read his book on writing?
No.
Stephen King is a pantser. He doesn't plot anything.
Yeah. Well,
and if it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me.
Yeah. Fair enough. I'll go along with that.
Let's put this up. I love your books, Thomas J. Eyre.
Thanks, Ori. Thanks, Ori. Ori, are you male or female? I can't make out whether that's a male name or a female.
I don't know. Ori,
I'd love to know. If you can let us know, please let me. Because if you're
breakups, I'd be nervous.
No, I was just going to say, if you're female, are you looking for a husband?
I'll
marry you.
Well, see, I knew that. That's what I said.
We're going to try to warn.
I said, after what he's just said, I'd be a little nervous. Trish says that's exactly what I meant. If it gave you inspiration anyway, not necessarily a pandemic story, since we've all lived it. Yeah, I think that everything that we live gives us inspiration, right? We certainly have lived quite a year. Ugh.
Yes, we certainly have.
And this is what Beth Carter Luther says. You all just answered my question about if your characters begin to write their own stories. Glad you're in agreement. Yeah, we are all in agreement here, Beth.
Yeah, yeah. I think anyone who actually gets to the point where they've actually written a book, they will find that the characters have written the majority of it themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
I know that Caleb says that if you have a block, a writer's block, it's usually because you're asking the character to do something that character wouldn't do. And once he said that, it was like eureka to me. Okay, George says, I never plot anything. I start writing and then watch what my characters do. See?
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm a firm believer that on your bookshelf, your paperback copies, they're still doing they're talking,
Oh, absolutely.
They're doing all their stuff in there, you know.
Yes. Listen, I shudder to think what's happening in that paranormal novel.
Yeah, well, we're not going to go there.
Okay, I can't go in there. Robert says erotica supernatural sounds like a similar vein to L.K. Hamilton's Anita Blake series.
Okay.
And
I've not read any of them, so I'll take it as read.
There you go.
Nothing wrong with straight to the keyboard. Planning can take several different outcomes, and that takes more time. Yeah.
There is that too.
Yeah. I don't know. There's just something about sitting down and starting to write, right?
It's the only way to do it. You just sit down and start writing.
Yeah.
If you try and plan it all out in your head, I find the story becomes very wooden. I mean, years ago they used to have these things called I think it was a plot wheel or something like that. If you got stuck, and you come up with a plot.
Yeah.
Please do me a favor.
There was also some kind of software or something that would.
Yeah.
It was like.
I mean, it's just.
After you try to use it, you actually come up with a murder plot to try to murder the person that thought of the idea. Right?
Yeah. Well, there was
the books that came out of it.
Yeah, there you go.
Jan would probably remember this. Going back along, there was an advert. I think it was for HSBC or another bank or something like that, and there was a woman who went in there and she was like, "Oh, I'm an unpublished writer," and blah blah blah. You know, the bloke says to her, "Well, we can deal along this way, and we can do this, and we can do." And she said, "Oh, wait, shark attack, brilliant." You remember that one? You remember that one, Jan?
I don't think I do. No.
No.
I have to wrap my brain now. I'll have to go on YouTube so you can find it.
You have a YouTube. Shark Attack. It's brilliant. Yeah.
I will do.
So, Paul Hollis says, totally agree. The characters tell their own story. And George Smuke says, totally agree. You have to give your characters their head. And you do. And Trish says, as a reader, it doesn't matter to me how you write it. If it's a good story, that's what matters.
Yeah. Trish, you've hit the nail on the head. Trish, you have hit the nail on the head. That is 100% of what it's about.
There you go.
You have the reader's attention. Hopefully you'll keep them away through the book.
Yeah.
Awake is good.
Yes. If you've
except for those that are trying to read to fall asleep.
Go to sleep, right?
If you've still got a reader after the first few pages, you're doing well.
Yeah, I agree.
Any
quite a few books I've tried to read.
Reader.
The first chapter.
Oh God, no! I hang my hat on the head of my old English teacher, who said to me, "Never judge a book by its cover." That was the first time I'd ever heard that, and I was trying to read a book for school. I can't remember what it was. It was like GCSE time, low level time, you know.
Yeah.
And I was trying to read this book, and I just could not get into it. And I got about 5 or 6 pages into it. It was like,
yeah.
You know? And he said to me, "Never judge a book by its cover." He said, "Keep reading." So I did.
Actually, that advice has applications throughout life.
And Mr. Ellis,
more than just reading,
Mr. Ellis, if you're still here on this side of life, thank you.
There you go.
I might not have said it at the time, but thank you.
But
you probably didn't know.
Well, you might have heard that. So.
I don't think Ori wants to tell us whether
he
is a male or a female. But now I'm interested too, Ori, if you're still there. Are you a guy or are you a girl? Or a they or a them? Because, you know.
Just hope I haven't upset them. It was said tongue in cheek. If you are listening, tongue in cheek.
Oh,
it was
yes,
just joking.
yes.
You know.
This was all joking.
I didn't mean it. I'm not ready for another wife.
Not yet.
George says, anybody who thinks that characters in a story do not live is two-dimensional, aka stupid.
Do you know what? I tend to agree with that. No, not the stupid bit. I'm not going to say that because not everybody likes my books. But
Can't please everybody.
You can't please everybody. You can't please everybody.
I think one of the first things you need to develop when you become a writer is thick skin. Because there's always going to be somebody who thinks you're crap.
Of course.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think any creative person, because when you create, you're giving birth to something, you know, that's something that you've birthed. And, you know, once you put it out there, you've got to understand that not everybody is going to like what you've done.
Right, yeah.
And you just got to get used to it, because as long as you're happy with it, you know, and it's done what you want it to do. I don't care if it's a painting or a book or music or whatever, you know, some are going to like it and some aren't.
Yeah. Quite agree. Well, like I said, Stephen King, he got rejected so many times. It was just untrue. And he said he used to nail all the rejection slips on his wall.
Yeah.
And he's quite prolific too.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah.
Robert White says, with our thoughts, we make the world. So with our thoughts, we build other worlds with living, breathing characters.
That's so true, Robert.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say, I actually take my hat off to Jan as well. The first book I wrote was a science fiction novel. It's still in the drawer. It was horrible.
It's not
my first science fiction book was.
it's never going to see the light of day.
Yeah.
It's like giving birth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fishkin says it's like giving birth, so I keep my comments kind or I'm quiet. I won't tell someone they have an ugly baby. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Good analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm quite open to constructive criticism.
Absolutely.
I like it when people tell me, if they say to me my book is shite, I'll take it on the chin. Yeah, okay. Tell me why.
Why? That's it. Yeah.
What would you do better? How can you help me become a better writer?
Or what did you like? What didn't you like about it, so that I can improve it myself?
Exactly.
As long as they tell you what's wrong with it,
that's right.
Fair enough. Because, like
I picked up another.
Can't please everybody.
The first lady that wrote that 1-star review. Now I've got quite a lot of 4 and 5-star reviews. I think my Desert Overwatch is I can't remember offhand. It's about 4.3 or 4.2, I think, something like that. The average rating for it. I picked up that one from the lady that I'd kiss her. To be honest, I would kiss her for what she made me stop and think about what was wrong with the book and what I needed to do about it. Without that, other people would have just read it and chucked it away and gone, you know. But she actually took the time. She actually took the time to write that and tell me why she thought it was wrong.
And it helped you.
But since then, I picked up another 1-star review, and the guy just wrote trash.
Yeah,
you know,
sometimes
that's not helpful.
It's not helping me. If
and you know what? It's not helping the other reader who's reading the review.
No, it isn't.
That's why reviews are helpful, because if you say what you like about the story, then the other people who like those kind of things in a story, that's what I look for. Is this something I'm going to like? Is this going to... And Absolutely. Then I say, oh, I like that. I like that when I'm reading about that. Or I don't like that. So yeah, I'll take a pass, you know?
Yeah.
But it's there to help other people. It's not there to abuse the author.
No.
Yeah. Sue Pearson says, yeah, they have to be constructive, not just say, I didn't like it. And Robert says, precisely, Sue.
Yep.
And then Sue says, to be honest, when I read reviews like that, I don't pay attention to them.
Yeah.
Same here. I don't bother with those sorts of reviews because they're not reviews, are they?
No.
They're just opinions.
No,
it's just
somebody
trying to elicit a response from you.
But if they're giving you 1 star, that brings your whole average down. So that's little bits of those do hurt to some degree, you know.
Yeah. But the thing is, if you get a lot of those, then there is something wrong with the story.
That maybe there is.
If you get 1 or 2 thrown into the mix, you just sit there and think, what's the point?
Yeah.
Right. Obviously, other people like the story. You know, if other people like the story, perhaps it's not the story, but
something right.
Yeah.
Or you need to read a different kind of book.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah.
Sometimes you can get confused by the keywords on the search engine, or they'll perceive a book to be a certain way, and then you'll buy it, and then it turns out to be not the kind of book that you want. And I can understand somebody giving a low review for that, because that's, it's a mix up in choices, I suppose. But if you know what you're getting before, as you buy it, and then you set out to read it, you still don't like it, at least you have to say what's wrong with it, rather than just give it 1 star and say, or not even bother give a review.
Right.
Sometimes you just get 1 star and nothing.
I agree completely.
I do too.
We all know about those keywords selling on Amazon. It's really important, but it has to pertain to your book. Some of them that I've read, I'm like, why did they say that about this book? Because
it's nothing like that.
It's nothing like that, right?
That's not the genre.
And it might drive people to your book, but they're not going to want to buy it.
It's a bit like the internet used to be donkeys years ago when it first started up. When website designers used to, quite Trish, this was what I was going to say. They used to have all the white space would be stuffed with white keywords, and you type in something like, I don't know, for argument's sake, children's sandals, and all of a sudden you come up with all these different websites offering you porn of every different and it was all because all the white in the websites was stuffed with keywords.
Yes,
and that's why it didn't matter what keyword you put in, it would bring this porn site up because it came as a keyword. And that's how they used to do it. And people would sit there and thinking, how the hell did I get to this from? I was looking for a pair of shoes for me kid. What the?
George, you gonna read George?
Yeah, George Dismuke says there's a naysayer in every crowd. They're like a bad rash. You just have to put up with them once in a while.
That's what it is. That's what it is with my books. I mean, the first lady, like I say, I could give her a kiss. She made me stop and think because of what she wrote. Yeah. But the second guy, just writing trash, it helps nobody. It helps nobody. It just goes to show his sort of level of education, I suppose, if that's the best he can come up with.
There you go.
I don't know.
Well, we're kind of over our time limit here, and
we have gone
kind of cruising. Yeah, it's 10 minutes past. So
that's okay.
We've had a wonderful evening. Any parting short comments, Jan?
No, just that I've had a wonderful time. It's been nice meeting you, Tom, as well. Even if you,
you too, Jan. You too. Perhaps if they do any crime, if they've got a crime editor, you might happen to mention that a good English author as well.
Will do, yeah.
If they want to make a film series of it, I'm your man.
Talk to George about that.
There you go.
He knows all about that.
Want to mention both Jan and Thomas are on indiebooksource.com. And if you can shop by genre, or you can look their names up in the author's list and go right to their page. There are bios there. I know Jan has a couple of videos Thomas, I don't think you have a video, do you, on your page?
I can give you some videos then.
Well, send them over. Yeah.
That's okay.
Well, depends on what kind of videos we're talking about. But at any rate, yeah,
I'm saying nothing.
about your book. This book.
Oh,
These
right,
books.
right, the book videos. Yes, I've got some of those too.
These 3 book videos. So, oh my goodness, this is
Thanks,
going down the tube.
You're a naughty boy.
There you go.
Beth Carter Luther says, thanks for the good humor. You guys are interesting.
Thank you.
Interesting.
Thank you, Beth.
That's an interesting word.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And did you show Susan?
Yes.
Okay.
Susan,
All right.
I think what Beth means is we're not boring.
Yeah.
you are not boring.
Try our
No,
best.
we're not boring.
True.
Of course, it's after midnight there, so you better be, keeping awake,
Yeah, you
gotta-
gotta keep-
I'm pumped. It's not a problem.
There you go. There you
Yeah,
go.
same here.
It was a great show.
Great
we really
show.
appreciated it.
You guys hanging out.
Well,
with
I
us.
really appreciate you inviting us on. It's been
Yes, same here.
been good.
So,
And I've got
with
to
that,
meet. I've got to meet Jan, who's looking out for me now. He's my agent. He's now looking out for a crime.
There you go.
That's
Right.
wonderful.
Are you
Big
my
selling-
agent, sir?
Big selling author, big selling author like Jan.
there you go.
Looking after us down the bottom of the tree,
Rob looked it up. Ori is a man's name. Just so
Pardon?
you know. Rob looked
Say-
it up. Ori is a man's name.
Oh, is
right.
it? No, I don't want to marry you then. No. Much as I like you, I don't want to marry you.
And great show. Thanks, Joan, Rob,
Thanks,
Jan.
Paul.
and
You're
Tom.
welcome. Thanks,
Thank
Paul.
you,
Thanks very much,
Paul.
Paul.
Mom, I
Oh,
liked your
Barbara
voiceover on
Duffy
the
Henderson
commercial.
said, Mom, I liked your voiceover on the commercial. That was me. I did a voiceover.
Is that one of yours? Oh, I like that.
That's
Yeah.
my oldest.
That's your eldest. Right. Okay.
Dave,
Are
Wicked.
you happy, Barbara?
Yeah.
You said something?
Dave, Tom.
All right, so we're gonna sign off now
Oh, that's
Thank you
too
so much.
bad.
from across the pond, and so until next time,
Yep.
That's all, folks.
that's all, folks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thanks for the invite.
Thanks for the
Thanks
invite.
for
Yep.
coming.
Thank you for joining us here on Meet the Author. Make sure you stay up to date with our show by clicking like, follow, and share. And you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and more. See you next time on WLFE-DB.com.
You've been listening to WLFE-DB.com, where our shows are your shows.